All right, let's see if this fits. Uh-oh. Oh no, guys. So this is my brand new eMoto. This is the eRide Pro SS 3.0. And last week I put on this really awesome ECD wrap. And it was surprisingly easy, but if you haven't watched that, you're gonna wanna go back and check out that video. But last week we left off and I told you guys that I had an awesome upgrade for this bike. And it's these super chunky off-road tires. So these tires are ideal for dry conditions or street riding. And I needed something a little bit chunkier. So I picked up these Dunlop Geomax MX33 tires. Now let me tell you, this back tire is absolutely massive. I was a little bit concerned that this tire wouldn't fit, but I think we're gonna be okay. This is a 90-118, and the SR model of the eRide Pro actually comes with a 100-118. I'll go over what those sizes mean here in just a little bit, because honestly, being new at this, I had no idea. Now let's take a look at the front tire. I went with a 70-119. So the front wheel on the eRide Pro is a 19 and the rear is an 18. I didn't want to go with anything super wide. I wanted to get kind of wide as I thought this bike could possibly handle. I didn't want anything that was super heavy. Anything that was going to be heavier than the stock tires could hamper the performance quite a bit. I've never taken off the back wheel on an eMoto before, so this is going to be a pretty wild experience, but there's only one way to find out, and that's just to dive right in. Let's go. So it looks like this is going to be a 6mm Allen key on this side, and then on the other side, we're going to use a 17mm wrench. This bolt right here was on there super tight. So if this is your first time taking this off, just be prepared. It's definitely on there really well. So now we should be able to pull this axle all the way through. Having a little bit of trouble getting this bracket off right here. It's loose, but I don't really understand it. Maybe I have to take the chain off here. There we go. Okay, pull up, and then this should pop off, and then I should be able to slide it off there. There we go. Okay, so also on each side over here, you're going to have these little brackets, and these rest up against these kind of screws, and that's what allows you to add tension to your chain on your tire whenever you have it on. But since we already have this tension properly, these little guys just pop off. So we should be able to just put these back in and then put our axle back through with our tire on and then put it back into place, and we won't have to do any type of adjustment if everything works the way I think it's going to. Now we want to make sure that we break this bead all the way around. If it's just like a mountain bike, then it's important to break the bead before you even try to start taking the tire off. Okay, just about got it. Okay, now we can use my brand new kit. This is supposed to be a kit that will basically help you remove tires. It's got what they call tire spoons in there, and then some other stuff. Okay, so here is the back tire. Like I was telling you guys, this is made by Dunlop. It's their Geomax MX33. This is a soft line. It's the 90-118, but you can kind of see the difference here. These are quite a bit wider. So let me explain really quick what that means. Is whenever you have the number 90-118, so 18 is the size of the rim, which we know that. But the 90, that first number, is going to be measuring millimeters, the width of the tire. And then 100 is going to be 100% of that first number. So for example, if this is a 90-100, that means it's 90 millimeters wide and 90 millimeters tall from the rim. Tall might not be the proper word. I may not be using the proper terminology for this because I am new at this. So if you had a, let's make it real simple. If you had a 150, that would mean it would be 100 wide and 50%, so 50 millimeters tall. Hope that wasn't too confusing. All right, let's get this stuff taken off of here and let's weigh this tire and compare it to the stock tire. So after weighing both, the new back tire weighs 1.66 pounds more. Now, after checking to make sure that this tire was a non-directional tire, I went ahead and tried to install this on the rim. And this is where everything kind of went south for me. I really didn't prepare well for this. I actually wound up scratching my rim quite a bit, and the biggest downfall of this entire thing is after I got this tire fully installed and seated, I realized I had punctured the tube several times. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of things that I learned from this process. So it wasn't all in vain, it was just a big struggle. I spent literally an hour and a half to 2 hours trying to get this back tire installed properly. And then after I got it fully seated and installed and went to go air it up and I realized that I punctured the tube several times, it was a big disappointment. But I tried to keep my head up because I knew that I was new at this and I knew that this was going to be a learning experience. So I went ahead and just took the evening off and wound up watching several YouTube videos. One that my buddy sent me was extremely helpful. Well, I got to order some tubes. Yesterday was a learning experience. So my experience with this right here didn't go as planned as you guys saw. I've learned a ton about installing a tire. Mistakes were made, especially with this tube, and I'm gonna give it a go again today. But I'm gonna start with the front tire this time because I'm waiting on an order for tubes for my back tire. And I also ordered extras for the front tire because I realized I didn't have any spare tubes. So if worst came to worst and I had to change the tire somewhere or needed a spare tube, I would have had to have waited or find a local dealer that actually had them. I'm actually going to do a couple of things to make this process hopefully a little bit easier and a little bit smoother. I'm going to take this tire inside, out of my garage, even though my garage is relatively warm. I'm going to put this next to the air vent to kind of get it warmed up quite a bit, but not too much. Maybe making it more pliable. I don't know, just a theory. Again, guys, I'm brand new at this eMoto stuff, and these are not mountain bikes or e-mountain bikes. These tires are tough. All right, let's go ahead, take off the front tire, weigh it, and then weigh the new front tire and see what the differences are. So the new tire is actually lighter at 1.54 pounds less than the stock tire, almost giving me the exact same weight for both tires across the board. So now we can quickly remove the front tire, which this is pretty easy. It's just a couple of bolts, basically reverse of what you had to do when you purchased the bike. Don't forget you've got end caps on this front tire here. And now it's gonna get real, guys. Here we go. So here's where the quick tips come in. These are learning experiences that I have from this whole process. Soapy water is the key. I also tried baby powder with the tube and the tire, and that did work a little bit, but I think soapy water is the ultimate key. It helped protect the rim just a little bit whenever I was using the tire spoons, and it helped slip the tire on, and also it helped with this process, taking the tire off. Okay, quote unquote easy part is done. And here's where I used the baby powder. It worked, but like I said, soapy water would have been just fine. Okay, so we also want to make sure that we put this tire on right. The disc brake is on this side, so rolling forward would go that way. We want to make sure that the arrow is pointing that way. Where's the arrow? And this is how we should roll. One other quick tip that I learned is install the tube in the tire first, and then place the valve into the valve hole on the rim. Then you can install the valve nut holding that tube in place. Then you can just push your tire onto the rim. Okay, don't puncture the tube. Again, use soapy water for this process. It makes it so much easier. Now the last one took me almost 2 hours to do, but this one took me less than 30 minutes. It was a much better and a much more enjoyable process, and I feel like I really learned a lot from that very first tire install. Yes! Yes, guys. Yes. is pushing the bead up. Now, if one side of your bead isn't fully seated, you can simply just tap the tire on the ground and it should help it seat. Also, add some soapy water and that seems to help it move along too. Next, we can go ahead and reinstall the tire on the bike and get ready to retry the back tire. All right, new tube, new day, got the back wheel. Let's get this thing installed. All right, guys, I'm gonna spare you on this one. This went so much better than the first time I did this. This was just like the front tire. I took my time and used all the skills that I have learned, and it only took me about 30 minutes to get it installed, and I didn't puncture the tube this time. So it was a success. Time to install it. Okay, this should be relatively easy to put back on. Just everything in reverse that we learned from taking the tire off. Then we can see if this tire actually fits. It looks like it's going to, but we won't know 100% until we actually get this thing put on. Reinstalling the rear tire really wasn't all that difficult. I just had to remember how I uninstalled it and just kind of reverse it. Take your time, line everything up, don't force anything, and it should go back together. Pro tip though that I learned is reinstall the chain before putting the axle on. You want to do this because once you put the axle on, it's tensioned and you can't get the chain on whenever it's tensioned. All right, let's see if this fits. Uh-oh. Oh no, guys. Okay, look at this. It's touching the chain right here. I think I'm gonna have to shave this side of the tire. Okay, this might be really hard to see, but I just trimmed off this edge right here on this little nub, and it seems to clear the chain. And I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I don't know if this is going to overall affect the actual ride of this. That's the only way that I can get this tire to fit. So a 9118 MX33 is too wide. I don't see a way to put a shim in here to get the tire to move over just a little bit. There may be, but I'm just not really sure. So I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this tread and just know that maybe my side traction on this tire turning right is not gonna be as good as turning left. So that's what I'm gonna do. Right or wrong, let me know in the comments below. Is this what I should have done, or is there a better way to handle this? All right, guys, look at this. Look at how much beefier this bike looks. This looks so much better than the stock tires that come on this. I know that this isn't gonna be ideal for a lot of people, and obviously eRide Pro has done a lot of research on who's riding their bikes and where they're riding them. And those other tires are probably more suited for majority of the people. But for me, going off-road, I think these things are gonna be awesome. There's only one way to find out, and that's to get outside and ride. We've got some really crappy weather right now, but hopefully tomorrow I can get out and ride around my backyard and see exactly how this thing feels on the go. Enough said, this is freaking awesome. Let's get outside and let's get this bike on some trails. Okay guys, it's totally nasty out here, but I have to get out here and ride the eRide Pro with these awesome new tires. Kind of a good day to test it too, because it is literally snowy and sloppy out. We're gonna see if these things can actually grip out on my backyard. And hopefully this weekend I'll be able to take this out on an official ride and be able to hit up some actual trails. I'm gonna go into this field by my house. Still getting used to this throttle. All right, let's cross the road here real quick. This could be sloppy here, but we're gonna give it a go. See how it grips. And these things feel pretty dang good right now. so much more confidence inspiring. Oh man, it feels good. It feels good. Oh, this is definitely dirt bike territory here. All this slop. Oh man, I hope that mud guard's working good because my back might be covered. Woo! Oh my God, this bike is like out of control. Wow. Oh, it's so cold out here, guys. It's so cold, but I'm having so much fun. Oh my gosh, this bike is gonna be filthy. Woo! I just got splashed all over my shoes. This is insane. Woo! Definitely freaking awesome. Holy cow. This freaking rocks. Look at this. It looks like it's right at home. Oh my gosh. Guys, this bike is absolutely mind-blowing to me right now. I am so stoked to have the eRide Pro SS 3.0 with these awesome tires on it and the awesome wrap that I put on it. I am so impressed with this bike already. I'm gonna work on tuning up the suspension and I'm gonna hit up an actual trail here in the coming weeks, and I can't wait to take you guys on my adventure. If you're brand new into eMotos like me, hit that subscribe button. Follow along and learn along with me because there's so many things that I need to learn on these that I want to share with you guys. And if you're experienced with motos or eMotos, definitely subscribe and help me along my journey. I would really appreciate it. And I know all the newbies on here would also appreciate it. Check out RevRides for one of these awesome rides. I've got links down below. Make sure you use my coupon code so you guys can get some Warp 9 pegs with your eRide Pro 3.0. All right, guys, as always, get out there and ride your eMoto. Woo! Man, these things grip so good. They grip so good, guys.
I got you, yeah. SOS, thought you was a threat. I do real life, do no